He was just a humble waiter, barely making enough to eat himself. But he gave 2 starving orphans the last warm meal he had. 20 years later, a helicopter landed outside his house. He thought it was a mistake until he saw who stepped out. What happened next will bring you to tears. Asterisk, it was a cold, rainy night in Georgia. Inside a small roadside diner, Walter, a 50-year-old black waiter, was wrapping up his shift. The place was almost empty. Tips were bad. Rent was due. His shoes were soaked through from walking in. He had 1 meal left from the kitchen's end-of-day batch, a plate of warm cornbread, some stew, and sweet tea. Just as he was about to sit and eat, the bell above the diner door jingled. In walked 2 children. No adults, shoeless, soaked, skinny, eyes sunken with hunger. They didn't speak. They just stood in silence, looking at the menu with eyes that couldn't read only imagine. Walter walked up. "Where's your mom or dad?" He asked gently. "No." Answer. Only the younger one whispered, "We haven't eaten." "Since yesterday." Asterisk Walter looked down at his food, then back at the kids. He didn't hesitate. He took them to a booth, sat them down, and served them his meal, the only one he had. They ate like they hadn't in weeks, eyes wide, shaking, grateful. When they finished, Walter didn't ask for money. He just smiled and said, "Come back. If you ever need a meal, no charge, just come back safe." They nodded, whispered, "Thank you," and disappeared into the night. Walter never saw them again. Asterisk 20 years passed. Walter still worked. Same diner. Same kind heart he never became. Rich, never went viral. Just kept showing up, giving people more than they paid for, until one morning, he was sipping coffee on the porch of his small, worn-down house when the earth started to shake. What, you, he? A helicopter thundered over the tree line and landed on the road in front of his house. Walter stood frozen. The neighbors peeked out from behind. Curtains. The helicopter door opened, and out stepped 2 people, now adults, dressed in tailored suits. Surrounded by security, they walked up to him and said, "You probably don't remember us, but we'll never forget you." Asterisk, those 2 orphans, they survived. They grew up, and they never forgot the man who gave them a warm meal when the world gave them nothing. They had been adopted by a traveling couple that very night, just blocks from the diner. Years later, they started a tech company together, built it from scratch. Now, they were multimillionaires, and they'd spent 3 years searching for the man who saved their lives that day. Walter's knees buckled. His lips trembled. "You remember me?" he whispered. One of them smiled through tears. "You gave us hope when we had none. Now it's our turn." Asterisk, that same day, Walter didn't go back to work because the siblings handed him keys. To a brand new house, a retirement fund, and a car with a note that read, "You fed us 1 meal. We're feeding you for life." But that wasn't all. They had renamed part of their charity in his honor, Walter's Table, free meals for orphans and the homeless, serving over 10,000 children a month. Asterisk, he gave without expecting. He helped without asking. He fed 2 souls, not knowing what they'd become. And 20 years later, a helicopter didn't just bring closure, it brought gratitude and a legacy no tip jar could ever match.